Hello, brothers and sisters. Today I wanted to come with a message of the importance of where your heart is at and what's your heart posture like, and making sure that God is in your heart and God's will is in your heart. And there's a verse that my buddy likes a lot that he said to me. And in a combination of something I read in Isaiah, I got this idea and I wanted to talk about it. So, Romans 12:2 is a verse that some of you might have heard, but it says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will." So I've always been interested in trying to figure out what God's will is for my life. And when I read that verse, I thought that it was like a mental thing and like an action thing. I thought that if I changed my thoughts and I changed my actions, I would be able to understand God's will better and I'd be able to walk with God. And that wasn't wrong, but I think it's something a little bit deeper than just changing my thoughts and my actions. What I've realized is that it's also important to change where my heart is at. And I want to read a verse from Isaiah to like expand upon what I'm going to say. So in Isaiah 59, verse 12, it says, "For our offenses are many in your sight, and our sins testify against us. Our offenses are ever with us, and we acknowledge our iniquities, rebellion and treachery against the Lord, turning our backs on God, inciting revolt and oppression, uttering lies our hearts have conceived. So justice is driven back, and righteousness stands at a distance. Truth has stumbled in the streets, honesty cannot enter." So at this point right now, Isaiah is trying to ask for forgiveness from the Lord for what the people of Israel and the people of Judah are doing at this time. There's a lot of idolatry and wickedness. And a verse that stuck out to me was part of verse 13 where he says that uttering lies our hearts have conceived. What I got from that is that a lot of the wickedness, all of or I'm gonna say all of the wickedness, all of the idolatry and all of the bad things that those people were doing was because there was lies in their heart that they came to believe, and that's what led them to walk the wrong way from God. And because they had lies of from the enemy or lies just that they came to believe themselves that weren't with God's will in their heart, it led them to not be able to be in the righteousness of God, not to be able to walk with God because they came against God's truth. And that's when I went back to the verse in Romans and I read it again and I realized that to transform my mind and to be able to walk with God's will, I have to transform my heart because first off, I thought that the way it worked was a trickle down system was my mind changes, my actions change, and then my heart changes. Well, what I've learned is that it's flipped. My heart changes, then my thoughts change, and then my actions change. And that's how I think that I'm able to be transformed with the renewing of my mind and be able to do what God's will is. Because if I'm just in my own experiences in my own walk with God, I don't want to like say this is completely true because it might be different for other people. But whenever I've ever done a disciplined thing in God, like go to church or pray or worship, and I've done it like begrudgingly, I'm doing it as like I'm checking something off the box. I feel that it's not it doesn't really like there's benefits to it, but it hasn't really benefited me as much as it could when I go into prayer because I want to pray, where I'm searching God because I want to search God, because it's in my heart. When I'm searching the Lord from my heart, when I'm reading the Bible from my heart, when I'm really trying to connect with God because it's something I want to do, that's when I have more of an encounter with God. That's when I am able to hear God better. That's when I'm able to connect with His Spirit more. And that's when, like, when I worship, I'm able to be more in the presence of God. And I realized that it's not just about changing my thoughts, but my heart has to be changed. And that's ultimately what the message is here for today. Changing your thoughts and being disciplined is good, but being disciplined and your heart is still not with God, I feel like you're still going to have trouble walking with God, and you're still going to have your moments where you stumble, and you're still going to have all of these things. And if your heart's not in it, when you hit those trials and when you hit those walls, you're going to like you're going to have a hard time picking yourself up. But if your heart is really with God, if you really want and desire God, when you hit a wall, when you hit a trial, it won't affect you as much because you still want to be with God, and know that even in the ups and downs of life, you still want to be with God. You'll be able to walk through the wall and continue going. So that's what the message is. Make sure that everything you're doing for God is not just like you're just doing it to check something off the box. Make sure that when you're really searching God, it's from your heart. And I believe that your prayer, your worship, and your life, and your your intimate relationship with God will change when you're doing it from your heart. That's the message for today. Thank you for listening.